Welcome to this week's St. Clair County Board of Commissioners meeting. The types of business that occur at these meetings include public hearings, official voting on actions by the Board of Commissioners, presentations by departments of the county, and recognition of service that makes our county great. As your elected representatives, the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners is committed to improving the lives of all our residents while preparing county government to meet the demands of the future. In order to do that, we need to share our thoughts and plans with you. More importantly, we need you to share your thoughts, concerns, and opinions with us. We encourage you to come and experience the process by attending any of these meetings. They occur every first and third Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. at the St. Clair County Administration Building at 200 Grand River Avenue in Port Huron.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And first, I'll call on our clerk to take the roll.
Commissioner Graytop.
Here.
Commissioner Riley.
Here.
Commissioner Rushing.
Here.
Commissioner Tomian.
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Here.
Commissioner Samasco. Commissioner Bohm.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda this evening?
I would move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This is the time for public comment. Do we have any citizens that wish to address the Human Services Committee this evening? Doesn't appear that there's anybody that wants to speak under that item. So next, we have updates, and our Director of the Health Department, Annette Mercantile, is here with an update for us. Annette?
Thank you. I have a treat for you guys, and I forgot my thumb drive, the right thumb drive, so I'm not going to have you go through all the slides, but I do believe in your packet. I sent the information ahead of time, and I apologize about my lack of IT skills. I'm here to talk to you about the progress that we've made on a specific project that I've been coming in front of you for years, asking you for approval of grant funding, and that is the Maternal Infant Early Childhood Home Visiting process called MCV. And out of that, we've had several initiatives, and just to preface this is all originating from some 2010 funding from the federal government out of HRSA. It was implemented into the Accountable Care Act as part of the prevention funding. And the issue is, of course, that the health of pregnant mothers and young children are the infrastructure of a healthy community in general. And we talk about upstream work, but if we can provide families with interventions that help improve their functioning, they grow up into more functional adults. And this is evidence-based. There's a lot of data to support home visiting in particular, and so the federal government took it upon themselves to try and expand and improve the structure of that. So these services are primarily focused on pregnant women and children up to the age of 5. It does focus on families at risk based on economic or other risk factors. There's no doubt it helps improve a number of factors, including child abuse and neglect, academic performance, and a lot of our infant mortality data related to premature births and adverse birth outcomes. So when the Michigan Department of Community Health received this funds, they've had a first funding of about $14.4 million, and that was extended in 2013 and 2014, another $10 million. What they did is they identified communities at risk, and they went through a process of risk assessment that included a variety of risk factors: domestic violence, substance abuse, poverty, low birth weight infants. It's on one of your slides, and St. Clair County was ranked in the 10 worst counties as a result of the risk assessment. And as a result, we started receiving some of the initial funding. That was back in 2010. From that funding, we initially had to do quite a bit of data analysis. And when I get to the slide on expenses and what we spent our money on, you'll see that we spent some of the considerable more money than much that we spent on doing data analysis and finding some of the higher risk areas of the county that we could focus on. Two of your slides show that we ranked second highest, and that would be second worst, in preterm delivery rates. In the city of Port Huron, that was 15%, but if you look at our African American population, that rate has doubled, almost over 28%. Likewise, for low birth weight infants, we have an overall rate that's higher than the state at 10.1%, but when you look at our at-risk population, it's over 23%. So when looking at this data, we were able to review a lot of the resources that we had, and we found that there were, in fact, a lot of disconnections between the services that we had. Each of our programs worked in silos. They received their referrals directly from whatever resources they had, and there was very little bit of sharing. Families would get enrolled and disenrolled, and there was no tracking. And so really that's what this whole program is about. It's not just about the hub, which I'm going to share with you in a minute. It's really about improving the overall system of care for this at-risk community. And of course, our ultimate goal is to improve those risk factors that we were ultimately selected for, to improve our low birth weight rates, et cetera. So the second component of our funding established a local leadership group of services that provide home visiting services as well as resources to that at-risk family. You have a slide in front of you that shows the wide variety of stakeholders that have been sitting at the table now for over 3 years. We meet regularly, almost every month. And this includes DHS, this includes our RISA, which is the Early On and Great Home Visiting programs, and really all the programs that we were aware of that touched these at-risk families are at the table. We've learned a great deal about our gaps and our barriers and our assets, and I really think out of everything we've done, that's one of the strongest outcomes from this grant funding. One of the initiatives is to try and improve the process of eligibility and getting people enrolled into these programs, and we did develop what we consider a central intake hub. It's called the Early Childhood Hub. It is live. It was live as of July, and we started actively marketing it in November. I need to tell you that it's not been an easy task taking what we consider a handful of home visiting programs and providing kind of a central registration site. And if this is a precursor to what we hope to do overall with our community resources, which to make them all kind of streamlined and consistent with each other, I can tell you we have a lot of work to do, but it is possible. And it didn't take as much money as it did just time working out all the variables between each program. This is, like I said, a central intake system for home visiting early childhood programs, but we really do hope we can expand it into all the resources that are available for at-risk families. And I think this is kind of an infrastructure that I think we need to nurture and continue to move forward. I put a couple screenshots on there for you that are actually screenshots of the hub itself. It is a decision tree that has been developed into an electronic software system where a caller at this point would call in to a call center, and we engage Port City Communications to do this work for us and build it. That call center will ask a series of questions, and the algorithm will take us ultimately to a place where we can see immediately what they're eligible for, which programs they're eligible for, and then that information is sent directly to the program. So the people are actually enrolled in programs by the programs themselves, but they are aware at the very end of the call everything they're eligible for. And we have had preliminary success with people that have been homeless, that people heard our ads on the radios and they've seen our ads on billboards that I don't think would have ever been aware of knowing how to get into the system. One of the outcomes of the hub, which we're very excited about, is data collection. And you can see there are all kinds of data points here, including eligibility criteria, but also geographical locations of where people are calling from. We can track whether they were successfully enrolled, whether they were referred to other agencies. And the database, which we're going to call a dashboard, has a great deal of potential. It was the dashboard that made our hospital system, one of them, very interested in collaborating with us. And one of the unexpected outcomes of this hub development was that River District Providence Hospital secured a mini grant to help collaborate with us as well for their nursing staff to work with their labor and delivery unit and connecting them with the resources. And it was when I presented to them the potential of the dashboard, I think that they really became interested in utilizing this service. I mentioned the marketing. As far as the deliverable goes, there has not been any county dollars used in this entire process. I mentioned we've developed very strong collaborative relationships with multiple stakeholders. In May of 2014, we hired a coordinator because the work was just becoming too great for all of the volunteers that were sitting in. The consultants included Port City Communications, a data analysis center called the Center for Population Health, which has done many of our community health assessments in the past, and many of the state organizations like the Early Childhood Investment Corporation and the Great Start Collaborative. The slide you're probably most interested in is the expense slide, and the expenses to date. This is from October 2010 till the present, so over a 4-year span. We've spent a little over $100,000. The majority of that is salaries and wages. We pay stipends to parents. For a while, we were paying for my extra time. I spent a lot of time on this at the beginning. Most of that money now is going towards the coordinator's role. There's been minimal amounts of money spent on supplies and materials and travel, about $8,000 on promotion, and we spent close to $60,000 with the consultants, particularly to build this model. And the source code for this software belongs to the county, belongs to the local leadership group. It does not belong to Port City Communications. And in fact, one of the things we need to do as we move forward is to try and develop a sustainability plan. This software, or the central intake process, really could be plugged into anything. It could be plugged into any other call center. It could be used as a web-based model. There's a variety of options available to us. We definitely need to revisit the data. We need to continue to strengthen our parent liaisons. They're a great source for us to know what really works and what doesn't work, and to understand really what the barriers are. And I would like to just make a plug for a community-wide health assessment. And I think most of you know that I've been working very hard to try and get a single community health assessment done that includes most of our stakeholders. And I do believe that some of this maternal-infant morbidity data needs to be included in that. Many of our stakeholders do these health assessments individually on their own, and I think there's a great deal of efficiency that could be done collecting it together. And I apologize about the lack of the PowerPoint, but hopefully I covered all the information you need. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board? Dr. Merkentemp, before you leave the podium, I'd like to inform the public that on February 20th, the Blue Water Women's Magazine is having a celebration, and one of the awards is to the Blue Water Woman Medical Professional of the Year, and we're very proud of the fact that Dr. Merkentemp has been awarded that distinguished honor. And I urge everybody to attend the reception and ceremony, which will occur on February 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the McMorran Theater. Please join me in thanking Dr. Merkentemp.
Thank you very much. Do you have any other questions about the hub? Do you have any other questions about the measles?
Well, I think one of the reasons why Dr. Mercantant has gotten this award is because of the public health programs that she has brought to our county. And many of them are like the one that she's explaining to us this evening, where she has raised the money and all of the services are coming from outside funding. And that's remarkable for our county and very helpful to our citizens. I think some of the demographics in your PowerPoint slides, now we all have them electronically in front of us. I'm sorry that the audience didn't have a chance to see them because they are very impressive. Thank you,
Hopefully
Annette.
I'm forgiven for that. I apologize. Okay, if you want them sent again, I'd be happy to do that, to put on your website or something.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Now I'm going to use my new prerogative as chair. Since we're on the topic of awards and the Blue Water Woman magazine, I also would like to congratulate Carrie Hepting, who is the Blue Water Woman of the Year in St. Clair County. Carrie, of course, is our finance director and deputy controller of the county. She was nominated by the Board of Commissioners and our employees for this award because she has led our county through a very difficult time with our budget. We've experienced some of the most challenging times since the Great Depression. We all call it the Great Recession. And a combination of her financial and personal skills have helped us all balance our budget and continue to provide the services that our residents really need in St. Clair County. And I'd like to congratulate you too, Carrie. So, returning to the agenda, are there any conceptual initiatives this evening? Any old business? Under new business, we have a proclamation for an employee and volunteer of the city of Algonac that I'm very familiar with, and I see that the proclamation is apparently sitting in front of Commissioner Graytop over there, but I don't see our awardee in the audience.
I am going to deliver personally and read it to him tomorrow night at a banquet dinner in Algonac where he is going, or she is going to attend.
Oh.
Did I slip?
So then you don't really want to read the proclamation for us tonight?
You're very astute there.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Next, we have under new business the 2015 Library Strategic Plan. Allison?
Okay. Good evening, and thank you for your time tonight. I just want to very briefly run through the library's strategic plan, and I'm very excited because the St. Clair County Library System is on the cusp of some great transformation. We are seeing changes in how people access and use information and interact with one another. They use different resources, new tools, and they have capability needs to effectively operate in society today. They require new approaches to services and resources that the library can provide. The library must evolve in ways that track both the pace of this change and the diversity of our users, ensuring that all members of our community have equal access to the world of information. With the help of Metropolitan Planning Commission, they proposed a vigorous and analytical and diagnostic series of discussions about the future of the library. They worked with a steering committee, staff, and library stakeholders to develop goals that would guide the library during a period of internal transition, as well as external societal and technological shifts. The plan is intended to provide vision and direction, staying true to the core of library values as the St. Clair County Library System adapts thoughtfully to emerging challenges and opportunities for the benefits of our patrons. That's my written spiel. Now we'll go on and move forward. Okay. In Chapter 1 of our document, which is fairly lengthy and very comprehensive, we talk about the purpose of the strategic plan, how it integrates the general context on public libraries and the future of libraries. It provides a summary of the planning process and the public involvement in that process. It also details the library's vision, its mission, and our core values. In Chapter 2, we talk about library trends and projections. This provides a general overview about St. Clair County from a local standpoint. It also explores population and household trends and projections. It provides an overview of library system collection and circulation statistics. We compare the St. Clair County library system with other county library other county level Class 6 libraries using statewide data, so we benchmark our information. We also give a general financial and budgetary overview of St. Clair County Library. And then we kind of zoom down into each individual branch, and with profile information. We requested information from our branch librarians. We also gained information and data from questionnaires, and we learned of any issues or recent developments specific to that particular community. We identified the top 3 tapestry segment profiles. This was something that Metropolitan Planning had access to, and it was really quite helpful. And what that means is that it provides some insight about each location's user base. What kind of collections might those residents be interested in, and how can we adjust our collection development to meet those needs? And then each branch profile includes a map showing 5 and 10-mile radius with patron and card holders. Each one of those little yellow dots that you see in your document is a library card holder. And then Chapter 2 wraps up with with nationwide library trends. We used Pew Research. We also used trend information from 2014 from various conferences and library activities. In Chapter 3, there we go. Chapter 3 is our SWOT analysis and our planning process. Basically, SWOT is your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And Metropolitan Planning took us through some very rigorous exercises so that we were very honestly looking at what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, what our opportunities are, and that was an exciting part of the process. And then, of course, the threats, which are very hard to sometimes identify. We talk about the planning retreat that was held last September and the results of that retreat. And then we also look at the summaries, we summarize the key input from the staff surveys with regards to our strengths and weaknesses, that sort of thing. And then it leads into a summary of the issues and ideas that we garnered through the stakeholder engagement process. We had an online input called Idea Scale, where individuals could log in. They could put their ideas out there for a future of their library, and people could vote on them and have discussions about them. And then it also grades those and prioritizes those ideas. Out of that came an organized group of key themes: collaboration, organizational development, technology, etc. In Chapter 4, the nuts and bolts, this is where the goals and strategic actions to achieve each goal and the performance indicators are. And the strategic actions are tied to our strategic priorities, which, in this case, are strategic priorities in no particular order: funding and financial stability, which is always very important for the library; innovation, technology, outreach, collaborative partnerships, facilities and space, again, another very important aspect of the library system right now; programming; and of course, customer service. And then the slide that isn't, hey, go back. There we go. This one isn't as pretty to look at because we don't have nice pictures of library, but these are the basic goals that are identified by the strategic plan. We want to create a physical and virtual presence that is stimulating, welcoming, and inspiring or inspirational. These are more of our broad, overarching goals, and within each of the goals we will have action steps and then measurements for those action steps, and we are confident that by the end of our 5-year period, we will have reached these larger goals. Goal 2 is we want to enhance the St. Clair County Library System's role in improving the quality of life of our community through developing relationships and existing, I'm not reading that very well, yeah. By developing relationships with existing and new stakeholders and encouraging participation in library programs and services. Goal 3 is to reinvent the St. Clair County Library System by fostering a culture of innovation. Goal 4, ensure financial stability for continuation of quality library services. Goal 5, vigorously market library services, programs, and resources to ensure it is known throughout the St. Clair County as the provider of quality information. I had a very nice conversation with Commissioner Tomian earlier today, and kind of shared a little secret about library and librarians. We're not trained as marketers. We don't do really well with telling people what we have, what we are, and how we contribute to the community. Marketing is going to be a very important part of building relationships, strengthening our partnerships, and so we're looking forward to creating a marketing plan and getting the word out about the library. Goal 6, the space in St. Clair County Library buildings will be studied and redesigned to better serve patrons' needs. I do understand that our branch buildings are owned by our municipal partners, but we have seen incredible support from our municipal partners in recent years, and we have seen an expansion in Ira Township. We've seen an expansion that's ongoing in K-PAC. We've had a wonderful expansion in St. Clair. Just about every one of our branches has seen some kind of work on the facility that enhances the patron and resident experience. Goal 7, the St. Clair County Library will provide a positive environment for staff and library patrons. And Goal 8, the St. Clair County Library will assess 4 services for improvement each year. Originally, our goal had been to add 4 new services, and we decided that it would behoove us to look at the services we currently offer and make sure that they're doing exactly what the community needs from them and evaluate those services before we start adding new services, needing more staff, needing more space, et cetera, et cetera. So, and that's where we stand. And if you have any questions, thoughts?
Mr. Graytop.
Allison,
Yes, sir.
on the maps that you put in there, you showed a 5-mile and a 10-mile radius.
Yes.
What's the idea of showing a 5 and a 10-mile radius? What information is that actually giving you?
Again, those yellow dots there are a library card holder, and what it shows is that the service area that we traditionally assign to a particular local branch actually is quite different than the reality. You will notice that in Geelan Campbell in Kimball Township, our little branch there is one of our smallest branches. Their service population is much, much larger because they end up drawing from Port Huron Township, they draw from Kimball, of course, they draw from all over the place. So if you look at those maps, look 10 miles out, the number of card holders that potentially could be using that branch is amazing. It actually rivals some of our largest branches. And so that information helps us to develop how we look at our collections at each branch and where their information needs fall.
And I'm looking at that with a 5-mile radius. I'm looking at St. Clair. It reaches only St. Clair, but once you go to 10 mile, it gets into Marysville, almost touches Memphis,
Yes.
Lynn Campbell, and almost it actually
Yes.
does touch Marine City. So there's an overlap when you get into
There
the 10-mile
is.
piece.
And that's one of the beautiful things about our library system in this county is that a resident is no more than 10 miles away from their local branch. They can go to many branches, take part in any of the programs that are happening at those branches, and they don't really have to travel any more than 10 miles away to get to the next location.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions from the commission?
Just a comment. After one of the services
Yes.
is Overdrive,
Yes.
and I have it on my iPhone and my iPad, and Linda has it on her iPad, and you can download those electronic books either in audio form or in reading. So
Yes.
it's a great
It's been-
service.
yeah,
and
it's been
your
very
staff
popular.
helped me set it up. So
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
But I
Yeah.
have to tell you that you have to do it in 2 weeks. I was on chapter 71 in my book with 30 chapters to go, and I was reading like crazy. And it said on my page, this book expires in 28 hours. So I started reading like crazy. And then it said it expires in 4 hours, and I still wasn't done with it. And it expired, and it's gone. And now I have to get back in line to get the book again because,
They're so popular.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
You can learn speed reading.
Got to read faster, Bill.
That comes with age.
thank you, guys.
Any other questions or comments for Allison this evening? Now, this is a very comprehensive report. It was so large that we couldn't even receive it electronically. And so we've all only had a copy of it today. And the action that we're contemplating tonight is simply referring this report onto our full board meeting on February 26th. The last question that I have, Allison, before I ask for a motion, is how would our citizens be able to get a copy or be able to look at this report?
We are in the process of, actually, I've got a whole library bag full of them now. We're going to be sending a copy for public use to each of the branches. We will also be making it available on the library's website. So anybody who is interested can flip through. Because of its size, we may have to break it up into much smaller pieces. But really, Chapter 4, the goals and the strategic initiatives are really, I think, what the patrons are going to be interested in, because they will keep us on our toes and make sure that we meet those goals.
Again, it is a very comprehensive document, and referring to our meeting earlier today,
Yes.
I think it's also important to note that this document was created in a partnership between the library and the Metro Planning staff. And it was been done more economically and I think very thoroughly.
Yes, it was wonderful using the talents that are in that department. They were able to really keep us on task and focus our energy. It was wonderful.
I'll make the motion.
Support the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have another library item, and that is the Hoopla Digital Media Service Agreement.
Yes. Hoopla is a product that is available through a vendor that we have used for many, many, many years called Midwest Tape. And what Hoopla Digital Service is it's a way of delivering streaming and digital media to the library patron on their mobile device. So they can actually, the patron can go in, they can check out, if they were interested in binge watching Game of Thrones, the TV series, they could actually download that TV series and watch it on one of their devices, be it a tablet, a computer, or a phone, which wouldn't seem too exciting, but you could do it. Also, it will allow people to download and stream audiobooks as well as music. And through Hoopla Digital Service, we actually have access to over 100,000 titles in audiobook, movie, TV series, and music. What Hoopla does is they negotiate with a lot of the publication houses and the movie producers, and they negotiate a price, and we are then, they bundle that, and then libraries, public libraries, are able to access that information and provide it to their patrons. Generally, for a service area of our size, we would be charged about $25,000 for the access to this for the year. We were able to negotiate down to $15,000, so we would have a savings.
1 year?
Yes.
I was talking with Allison earlier today about that. Maybe you could explain to the commission, as you did to me this morning, how we're charged for the service. I thought that
Yes.
was very unique.
Yes. Knowing that the county has policy about prepaying for services, the library, the way this model works is we would give the money in an account to Hoopla, and then every time a patron checks out a movie or a TV show, then that account is charged anywhere from 99 cents to $1.99. And when that money is used up, then it's used up for the year. So I knew that this model was not necessarily in line with the county's policies for prepaying. In talking with purchasing and working with the contract, we were able to take a look at that and view it as an opportunity, like a database, like a subscription to like Overdrive, where the patrons have access. It's just paid in a different way. And we worked with purchasing, we worked with accounting, and found that that was something that we could try, so that we can deliver a new format to the patrons.
I just thought it was interesting how those business transactions are changing today and the different thought process. Well, thank you very much, Allison.
You're welcome.
Are there any questions for?
Yes,
Just
sir.
one, you said that, see if I understood it correctly, the $15,000, 99 cents to $1.99.
Yes.
Once that's used up, does that go to 15, then it's done? For that annual?
Yes, that's done. We could go back to the library board and request an adjustment in our budget if we found that it was very popular. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to try to cap the patrons, where they would have 3 checkouts a month. And because it's an introductory year, we think we're going to be able to track the use and the demand.
I'll make a motion that we forward this to the full board.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Allison.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Allison.
Do any of our commissioners have any other human service matters for us to consider this evening? I have a couple that I'd like to bring you up to date on. I attended my first meeting of the Council on Aging, and it was sort of a milestone because we hired a consultant to begin the selection process to replace our long-term executive director, Laura Newsom. After 25 years leading our St. Clair County Council on Aging, she's going to be retiring June 30th. She's done an outstanding job for our county. I'm very proud of the services that they provide to our citizens, and it's going to be a very important decision for that board to make. And finally, I've been asked to participate in a community initiative really sponsored by the United Way, and it involves a 211 phone service. 211 is a different phone service than 911, and I'm somewhat familiar with it from my work in other areas of the state. But as it turns out, St. Clair County is the only county in the state of Michigan that does not have 211 phone service. And I have some information that I'll make copies and distribute it to the commission later. But basically what it is a call center for all human services. So anybody that has a human service issue can call this one number, and they are completely familiar with all of the services that you have in the community, and they can help people have their needs addressed and also coordinate the services between different agencies. And it's been very successful in other communities. It centralizes the dispatching, not unlike what we saw when we brought police and fire and ambulance all into a central dispatch. There are even bigger economies of scale when we bring an automated phone service into the human service sector. So the United Way has started a planning committee, and as it stands right now, there would be 2 options for St. Clair County. We could associate with the Detroit Metropolitan 211 Service Center, or there also is a service center in the city of Midland that we could participate in. Our committee has met with the Detroit representatives, and we're planning to schedule a meeting with the Midland service provider in the near future. I was surprised that we didn't have 211 phone service here. As I said, it serves 82 of the 83 counties in Michigan. It serves 92% of the U.S. population, and it has actually rolled out much quicker than 911 phone service. So we should be hearing more and seeing more about that in the human service area. With all that said, we have, for information only, the Health Department January points of interest.
I move that we receive and file the Health Department's January 15 points of interest.
Support?
All those in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to receive and file our packets.
I would so move.
Support?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to adjourn.
Support?
Aye.
Gavel it over.
Thanks, Serge. Okay, I'd like to call the Judiciary Public Safety Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Greatop.
Here.
Commissioner Rushing.
Here.
Commissioner Bohm.
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Here.
Commissioner Tamian.
Here.
Commissioner Samasco. Commissioner Riley.
Here.
Quorum.
Okay, thank you. Any additions or deletions, changes to the agenda?
Move we accept the agenda as presented.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Citizens to be heard. Any citizen to be heard for this committee? Okay, moving on for updates. No updates, conceptual initiatives. Old business. New business, item A, State 911 Committee Dispatch Training Distribution. Tim, do you want to cover?
Good evening, gentlemen. This is a yearly grant application that we put in. It is, as it says, it's a grant to cover training through state 911 funds for our dispatchers, the employees in the 911 center only. We applied for this for at least the past 7 years. The award money, we don't ask for the amount of money. It's awarded to us based on the number of full-time equivalencies we have. This year we had equivalency of 20.58. We usually get around a little bit over $20,000 a year for the training funds. The training funds are used for a number of classes. Last year we focused a lot on 911 dispatcher stress and leadership training. We've done some, we have to do some state mandated training for our new people, a 40-hour basic training, and then they have to have a 40-hour advanced training. This year that was all rolled into a dispatch academy down in Oklahoma County. So it covers a wide variety of situations that dispatchers could find themselves into. Some of the new training coming out is actually involving passenger safety on 911 or on Amtrak trains. So they continuously have new classes coming out. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
Make a motion, we send it on to the full board. No, I make a motion, this is final action. So I make a motion.
Support.
Moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Oops, sorry, got a roll call.
Commissioner Greatop.
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing.
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian.
Yes.
Commissioner Bohm.
Yes.
Commissioner Riley.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item B, State of Michigan medical marijuana grant. Ron, will fill us in.
Good evening. I have a memo here from the undersheriff that I'm going to refer to and probably read just so the public can hear it. The state of Michigan, in the Medical Marijuana Act, has allocated funding to each county for the enforcement and education of the medical marijuana laws. This funding is for the 2014-2015 state fiscal year. The grant period is from January 1, 2015 to September 15, 2015. St. Clair County has been allocated $48,917.10 for this purpose. The St. Clair County Drug Task Force is the leading agency in the St. Clair County for the enforcement of drug laws, including the medical marijuana laws. Last year, the Drug Task Force investigated multiple cases of violation of the medical marijuana laws. Ultimately, they seized 1,150 marijuana plants and 95.1 pounds of processed marijuana from illegal medical marijuana grow operations. These illegal grow operations are at times extensive and pose a health risk to the citizens involved in the illegal activities, their innocent families, and the officers investigating the complaints. The illegal medical marijuana investigations also require many hours of investigation, costing the DTF regular and overtime wages to complete the investigation. In an effort to help educate the community on the medical marijuana, members of the Drug Task Force have participated in numerous drug awareness events. These include town hall meetings, school parent meetings, and drug awareness booths at community events. The St. Clair County Sheriff's Drug Task Force would like to receive the allocated monies for the St. Clair County under this grant. If approved, the Drug Task Force will use the funding to offset wages for the investigations and community outreach and purchase protective equipment for the dismantling and transport of the illegal marijuana grow operations. The Drug Task Force also has allocated a portion of the grant for other agencies in the county to offset their costs when assisting the Drug Task Force in their efforts. This grant is a one-time pre-allocated fund that requires no match from St. Clair County. Majority of the grant will be used to offset wages. A small portion that is planned for equipment will purchase protective equipment, evidence equipment, a trailer for transport, and will set aside funding for any rental equipment needed for large-scale operations. With the exception of the trailer, none of the equipment will require future maintenance. The trailer will require minor upkeep that we budgeted for in the Drug Task Force budget. Of the $48,917, we will allocate $34,720 for wages, $10,000 for equipment, and I believe it's $4,197.10 for outside agencies. Just in my own experience, we investigated a large-scale medical marijuana operation that was in excess of 500 plants. They were 9 foot tall. We had to rent a backhoe to actually pull them out of the ground and actually trucks to haul them to our location. We met with one of the doctors at the McLaren outpatient clinic. He strongly recommended us to start wearing PPE equipment because of the herbicides and the chemicals they're using in these grow operations. And this is where this grant, and I think the state, has come about. So we're actually going to use it for communication, education, and enforcement. Any questions?
Just one clarification. Do you need this grant for final action? And the reason I ask that is I think there's a possibility that we may postpone our regular meeting for about 3 weeks, the next regular meeting. So if you need this for final action,
I would probably agree for final action if we could get to final action, because the grant period is started already and it ends in September, so if it's possible.
now I would make the motion then that the State of Michigan medical marijuana grant for the Sheriff's Department be for final action.
I'll support.
Moved and supported. We need roll call on this.
I can run.
Roll call.
Commissioner Greatop.
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing.
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Yes.
Commissioner Bohm.
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian.
Yes.
Commissioner Riley.
Yes.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay, next, any other judiciary or public safety matters? I have a couple things I'd like to bring out. One is back January 17th, there was a regional arson prevention committee meeting in Port Huron for police and fire officers. And I just want to mention this because one of the speakers I had that night was Dr. Daniel Spitz from the Medical Examiner. And he spoke for about an hour and a half on proper ways and things to do, et cetera, at these scenes. And I wanted to bring his name up tonight because I heard nothing but good comments about his talk, how things should be done, and I thought it was nice to have somebody that was so well recognized, and a lot of people didn't know him even, but he really did a nice job in his talk and the education. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Something else that I thought was kind of neat. At the fire chiefs meeting, I attended that, in St. Clair County Emergency Recovery Pet Therapy Teams. And I didn't have any idea what this was going to be about, but Lori Brockdorf there was a bunch of the dogs come in with their handlers, et cetera, and explain how these dogs relate to different situations and the people that need therapy. And they even take them to nursing homes, and they do a lot of things with them. But I was really impressed with the handlers and how they handled everything. And I thought it was something that there's flyers on it too. I know Lori's got them certainly in her office here. But again, it's somebody else in our county stepping up to answer some of the problems we have out there in everyday living. The last thing is, and I want to compliment, there was a law enforcement appreciation dinner, and a lot of people attended it. Becky and I went to it, a spaghetti dinner to honor law enforcement. Been a lot of downplay and a lot of things said against law enforcement and things that are going on in every day all over the country. And this, to me, was just another way to thank the officers for what they do on a daily basis, and it was well received by the people. And the weather that night was nothing short of crummy, but we had a good turnout regardless, and I just thought it should be noted. Any other matters to bring up? If not, for information only, we have nothing there, and I take a motion to receive and file packets.
So move. Support.
Moved and support, all in favor?
Aye. Motion to adjourn?
Support?
Meet you halfway.
Okay. Couple old guys, we need that. The exercise.
I'd like to call the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Environmental and Public Works Committee meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, would you take the roll?
Commissioner Bohm? Here. Commissioner Tamian?
Here.
Commissioner Riley?
Here.
Commissioner Rushing?
Here.
Commissioner Graytop? Here. Commissioner Samasco? Commissioner Heidemann?
Here. At this time, are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Riley and supported by Commissioner Graytop. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Any citizens to be heard regarding environmental or public works matters? Seeing none, any updates from commissioners? Seeing none, we do have an update from the St. Clair County Conservation District on the really exciting results of the new farm bill. And so Joe Cass is here to give us a presentation. Joe, take it away.
Well, thanks, Commissioners, for having me here tonight. I just wanted to take a few minutes to come out to one of the environmental committee meetings and thank you guys for the support of that $15,000 allocated over the next 3 years. And I wanted to introduce you tonight to Mrs. Megan Naplin. She's our farm bill technician that we had hired actually at the Sandlot Conservation District, and she conveniently lives in Clyde Township, so it made sense to transfer her to the office down here as we were working with a partnership, giving her a 5-minute drive versus a 45-minute drive. So she comes down here to help St. Clair County and Macomb County with actually all the knowledge and skill sets needed to actually just take in with the new Farm Bill Technician program and run with it to bring USDA programs to this area. So if Megan wants to come up here, I'm gonna have her talk about what she's been doing. We started this, just so you know, kind of all the pieces of the puzzle fell together with Macomb County and St. Clair County and the conservation districts working as a partnership between Sanilac and St. Clair. They all came together. The Natural Resource Conservation Service of USDA did grant the largest part of the grant to covering this position. So everything kind of fell in place, and October 1st was kind of our start date, being our fiscal year with this. So I'm going to have Megan talk a little bit, and then I'll talk about some other things that the Conservation District is planning or has going as well.
Hello. I'll just kind of give you an update on what's been going on since I started. Previously in 2014, an overview of the contracts funded through EQIP and other Farm Bill programs. There were 11 contracts funded that equaled $132,000, almost $133,000 in cost share dollars going out to landowners in St. Clair County. That covered 384 acres, and some of the practices installed were seasonal high tunnels to promote longer growing seasons for vegetables, nutrient and pest management plans, which demonstrated and worked with farmers to put out proper amounts of fertilizer that can grow a productive crop but not over apply. Erosion structures and cover crops for erosion and sediment control. This year I started in October, late October, and we've had 14 applications so far. Actually, probably a few more we've had in the last few days. We've done a few field visits, so some of the same practices, the high tunnels, cover crops, grazing, grass waterways, fueling facilities, and chemical facilities as well. And these applications are covering well over 1,000 acres so far. And I would say dollar amount, if these were to be funded, would be in the $300,000 range as far as contracts to be held. This is the first sign up of the fiscal year. There's several other ones that come out. There's actually a sign up just came out for Conservation Stewardship Program, which is more conservation activities. This one is focused more towards the farming side, agricultural side. And there's several others that are going to come out, so we're on a good start here, and I think it'll keep going. So if anyone has any questions for me.
Any questions for either Megan or Joe?
Just to add a few more comments, Megan has, she wants to be busy all the time. She's actually gone out to make even, like, call farmers up or landowners, like almost cold calling, letting them know about programs that they may not know about, so we can bring more aid to the county. I've kind of gotten involved with more and more meetings. We hear a lot about the Western Lake Erie Basin and so forth. With St. Clair County, a lot of it is actually in the Lake Erie Basin considered as far as watershed goes. So we are trying to reach out to work with farmers to limit the soil erosion. That's kind of our overall goal, even for the better health of Lake St. Clair as well. So we reached out to the Road Commission as well. They supplied us with a very nice letter of support with their drains or their ditches that they keep cleaning out and washing out. So we did go and we talked with them, and if they have people to refer to us, so we want them to know that we will go out and see the landowners and try to work with them as well. Couple other things, because this grant happens to be local match from the commissioners of St. Clair and Macomb County, and federal money through the USDA Farm Bill, the Department of Natural Resources come out with an invasive species grant. So I kind of collaborated with SEMCOG based on DNR's recommendation, and I put together a proposal to have basically to hire an invasive species coordinator and work with, of course the biggest one would be Phragmites in this county and along Lake St. Clair and through Macomb County. But I was able to, well, if we work with private landowners to address invasive species on their properties, it's possible that we could utilize Farm Bill money to replant that, to remove the invasive species and replant it back to a native vegetation in, on private land. So I was able to actually leverage her time as match towards this other person. So it's possible, because this is state money, so it's possible that in the end we'll end up with another employee as well in addressing much needed invasive species that exists, not only Phragmites, but even in the woodlots and so forth around the county. And then also I've been working with the Department of Agriculture saying, I've got Macomb County kicked in, I've got St. Clair County kicked in, the Sanilac and St. Clair District are kicking in. I said, where's the state at? And we're working with them right now. I believe in the near future we'll also be receiving a wildlife biologist that will be able to work with private landowners to manage their woodlots, to manage their properties for whatever habitats that they want, or hunting. So there could be a lot of different recreational uses that, with the resource right here in St. Clair County that's up and going. So like I said, we're able to use this grant to actually hopefully bring more resources to the county to address items that we feel is needed. So another thing is Megan or myself, as we're getting into this, we're finding out there's other committees or other environmental groups that we'd like to attend. I happen to notice on here there's something for farmland preservation. If there's things that we should know about or be there to help give input, we definitely want to do that. So we want to be a part of the county and help where we can. So if you guys have any questions for us, go ahead.
Any questions for David?
Just one. You got 384 acres currently. How much is that in St. Clair County?
That's all St. Clair.
Okay, just for St. Clair County.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
And I think agriculture as a economic driver in the county keeps moving up. So keep up the good work. Any conceptual initiatives from administration? No old business. We'll move to new business. Resolution 1502, St. Clair County International Airport rates and fees. Kathy's going to tell us how much they're going up. No, I'm kidding, Kathy.
I know you are. As you know, we do have a compliance agreement with United States Agriculture to accept, and we are responsible to dispose of any regulated trash that comes in from foreign countries other than Canada. So with that compliance agreement for 2015, they've changed it that if there were any event that were to happen that airport operations could not meet that aircraft, they're expecting then that we reimburse them for any overtime that they would incur. We've never had that happen, but this is what they're asking for. So I think the best practice for that is for us to collect that fee when the aircraft arrives and then reimburse them that overtime fee. That way that we're guaranteed to have that money. Currently, if the airport operations or any type of overtime fee comes, we have that rolled in right now, and we've had it for, we've had the regulated trash for 12 years. What we do is we charge a $150 fee for the bag, which there again is for the disposal, and then the airport operations, whatever they need, whatever their hours of time that it took them. So what I'm asking from you tonight is that we charge the $200 flat rate for any overtime to reimburse for the United States Agriculture at $200. That would just be a flat rate for them. And then also, we have, with the corporate hangar now being available for aircraft storage, we had already established with you the monthly fees for the corporate hangar. And what we'd like to add tonight is the transient overnight fees, which we've had quite a lot of them this winter with the storms that we've been having. So we're there again, we're just going to base that on the aircraft class itself, the same as that we had into the rates that we have now, with winter and summer rates, and this will only be additional income to us. It's not a rate increase of any kind. But we have researched this at pretty good length with the industry standard, and the rates that we've got that I'm presenting for you tonight are a little lower, or a little slightly lower than what the industry standard is, but as we try to market the airport, we don't want to, we're kind of trying to market, and we thought that if we kept it a little slower, a little lighter than what the industry standard is, and we could maybe address it in another year or so, and, you know, we can decide then if it needs to be raised, but at this point, we think this is a pretty fair overnight for transient aircraft. So tonight, I'd like to ask you to approve our new freight, the new structure for the rates and fees. Do you have any questions?
I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
David?
Just same concern, because potentially we'll be extending our main board meeting. Do you need final action tonight, or at the end of the month?
No.
Is fine. Okay.
To be honest with you, we've already been charging them.
Great, Tom.
Kathy, two questions. One, I noticed landing fees. Now, do you charge landing fees to people who have their airports or their airplanes stored out
No,
there?
no
And
tenants.
just for the transients
Just
coming
the
in, everybody
transient.
that lands pays a landing fee?
In corporate, not any personal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I see that you will wash an airplane under miscellaneous fees for $5?
No, that's to recover the water. They wash their own
And you charge them $5 for them to wash?
for the water.
Okay. You don't wash for $5?
No, no.
I needed to get that clarified.
If we probably should.
I take my car out there.
I was going to say,
My boat.
Okay, could I have a
Probably should
motion
add
at this
that to
time?
that.
I support.
Okay,
I think he already made it.
I'll make the motion to forward this to the full board.
Support.
that's supported. So it's made by Commissioner Rushing and supported by Commissioner Riley. Any other questions for Kathy? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you,
Thank you.
Kathy. We have a memorandum of understanding regarding the wetlands construction, and I see Mark is already on his way up here.
Evening. In your packet, you should have a full copy of the Memorandum of Understanding. Mr. Fletcher has reviewed that Memorandum of Understanding. It basically outlines the understanding whereby we, the county, would accept stormwater from
Okay,
the
that's what's...
regulated city stormwater system and use it in our wetlands. It basically holds the city harmless from any negative effects. But on our end of the bargain, we have the right to discontinue using it, so if whatever water we're getting out of their system is not conducive to what we want to do, we can just go back and rebuild the manhole so we don't divert water to our wetland. So it's a pretty simple agreement, but spells out the intentions of both the city and the county as far as that use of the stormwater. And it is required under their stormwater permit with the state of Michigan.
Okay.
Our wetland in and of itself is its own stormwater system.
Yeah. There's a question here from Commissioner Thomas.
So, Mark, this means that we will be able to make a direct connection then to the St. Clair River city
No.
stormwater?
No, that did not work out, so we were looking for other source of water other than pumping. And so the first choice was to try to capture some stormwater that was either in one of the stormwater systems near the site. Separate from that, the system will have the ability to pump water out of the St. Clair River up into the wetland, but there will not be a direct hydraulic connection between the wetland and the river, as we had originally hoped.
So how is the city stormwater used then? I'm confused.
The city stormwater comes off Military Street and other streets, and then goes in, a manhole will have a diversion device put into it so that water over a certain elevation won't spill into our wetland.
Okay, but that then in turn won't be connected to the river?
Their system will still be connected to the river, so in a large event where more water is coming through that pipe, it will continue to go directly out to the river in addition to feeding our wetland.
But our wetland will be connected directly to the river then?
No,
No, it will not, okay.
not by an overflow device, but not through this connection.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, quick question, Mark. This memorandum, do you need that for final action, or?
It's not a huge matter. It still has to go to the city council for their action.
Okay, I would entertain a motion for the memorandum of understanding with the city of Port Huron.
Go on to the full board.
To go on to the full board.
Make that motion.
I'll support it.
Okay, it's been supported by Commissioner Graytop. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. Mark, I'm going to have to go back. I skipped you on the Blue Water Coastal Wetland Construction Contract.
Yes, in your packet, you should have before you a bid tabulation where we opened bids on January 21st and received 8 bids for the project. And the low bidder was Body Construction of Port Huron in the amount of $810,976. The Smith Group JJR and myself and Brad Brensky from our staff interviewed them on their bid and confirmed that they were comfortable with the price and didn't miss anything. There's 2 parts of the project, that the dirt moving and digging and putting pipe down, what Body Construction is fully capable of doing. They do it lots of times. But the other half of the project is doing all the environmental bringing in the plants, planting them, keeping them alive, treating invasive species. In that case, that portion of the project they've subcontracted with GEI, which is a statewide, region-wide contractor that specializes in that business. So by that interview, we're comfortable that Body Construction, both with their own forces and with their subcontractor, can handle the work.
Was this the same subcontractor that a number of the other bidders had also?
The next lowest bidder also specified that they were going to use them. So the 2 low bidders specified this contract.
Okay. Well, it's neat to see we've got 3 local bidders working on this that put in bids.
Yes.
Great. I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we forward this to the full board.
Okay.
Support.
Do we have a second? It's supported. Any other discussion or questions for Mark? Mark?
Just the other thing, we're asking as part of the package if you can include contingencies so the contract could go up to $836,624. That would give us just about a 3% contingency to deal with any unforeseens, and that would bring us to the dollar amount that we have allocated through the grant.
Yeah, if you see in the letter, he explained all that in the letter that was given to us, and that will be, of course, included when we approve this at the full board.
Okay. Seeing no other questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, we've got another thing for you here. The Way Property Acquisition Agreement with 6 Rivers Land Conservancy, the Goodles Park expansion.
You should have in your packet my memo dated January 28th discussing the project. There was one clarification or correction in there. We are proposing to use 6 Rivers, and that the Community Foundation, who's doing the similar project with us at Columbus, was not in the position to do a second project all in the same year. So 6 Rivers Land Conservancy is a is active within the Lapeer, Genesee, Lapeer, Bell River, St. Clair County, Macomb, and Oakland counties. They are a contractor with the Bell River Watershed Plan with the Health Department. So we contacted them and they were interested in doing it. The one correction is the fee that they, in addition to being reimbursed for their direct expenses, the fee is $5,000 when they acquire the property and $5,000 when they transmit it back to us. I believe in your packet, Chris included the actual contract that Mr. Fletcher, that contract is based off the Community Foundation contract that Mr. Fletcher wrote with counsel from the Community Foundation, and they made some changes, and that was transmitted on to Mr. Fletcher for his review. So, and you do have that in your packet? I don't have it.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay. And as an update, we did receive the appraisal back from our appraiser, Tracy Nesbitt. Just speaking in public here, it didn't meet the original desires of the property owner. The property owner counter-offered, and the Six Rivers Land Conservancy is comfortable with that negotiated price. Last night, the Parks Commission talked about the price, and we're comfortable with it. Again, the plan is to have Six Rivers acquire the property, hold it, then we would submit a grant application to the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund, and then hopefully buy it with the trust fund grant. The beauty of that is the purchase agreement between Six Rivers and the property owner would be one of the comparable sales that would be included in the updated appraisal that we would need for the grant. So in all likelihood, the negotiated price is going to probably be acceptable for us to purchase it under the DNR grant.
And the typical request for a DNR grant will be $75, $25?
$26.74.
$26.74, so we have to pay the 26% of the cost.
And this, again, this is a property that we have twice tried to acquire in the past and not gotten an agreement with the property owner, so it's a real opportunity to finally get it done.
Commissioner Graytop.
Did we talk the price? Have you mentioned the price that we're paying?
With we received the appraisal. I shared it with legal counsel for the property owner because we said our basis of our purchase is going to be the appraisal. They accepted it, and I came back within a half a day with the counter offer significantly under their original asking price.
$5,000 fee. Did the Community Foundation charge us anything when we worked through them?
No, there wasn't a fee, but we paid all, we paid all the direct costs.
Okay, and my last question is, if you somehow do not get a grant, what happens to that property once Six Rivers?
We are obligated to buy it from Six Rivers with or without a grant.
Okay.
Same as with the Community Foundation. So they're guaranteed not to be stuck holding the property, which is understandable.
Any other questions for Mark? Commissioner Smasko isn't here, but I think over the last 8 or 10 years, he's mentioned it to me as the representative of Park and Rec, that this is a high priority purchase for expansion of the Goodles County Park. And so I think this is a great opportunity for us. Having said that, do we have a motion on that, Mr. Clerk?
I'd so move.
I have a motion by Commissioner Riley, seconded by
Commissioner Graytop.
Commissioner Graytop. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Now, the metal roof replacement. This is the end of...
Yep, for the third year in a row, I'm in front of you asking you to approve a bid that was received in October 4th of 2011. Back then, we solicited bids, and Reasonable Roofing was the low bidder on the package. Due to budget constraints, we have done the replacements piecemeal. We're down to the last roof now, and we're asking for your permission to enter into the final phase of this project with reasonable roofing to replace the mechanics barn roof, which includes the shade shelter roof and the splash pad, for $26,740.
Any,
Make a motion to send it on to the full board.
do we have a second?
Support?
Supported by Commissioner Rushing. Yeah, those metal roofing, I don't know, I'm sure all of the commissioners have been out there. It's fantastic, it looks great. And I understand the life expectancy of that roofing material is fairly long. I know we've had some trouble with the previous composition roofing material that it just wasn't holding up. So, looks great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. The Agricultural Preservation Board reappointments.
Make a motion that we send on to the full board the appointment of Miss Diana Seifert for Agricultural Preservation Board. Support.
Okay. Any other discussion? Yeah, there was a second position.
And Mr. Kenneth
Langmesser?
Langmesser?
Yep. I support that as well. Thank you.
Okay. Any other? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. By the way, that would be for final action, the reappointments.
Going to the full board is what he said.
It doesn't need to be. That,
Go to the board, or you want it?
no, we're good.
Go to the board. Yeah.
Okay, Jeff,
It's just fair to have his presentation.
okay. We have the Smiths Creek landfill activities report. I would entertain a motion to receive and file that report.
So moved.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Rushing. Any questions, discussion on it?
Just one
Oh.
comment. I just got a quick one, Howard. If you look at the percentage of efficiency on the landfill from the gas to energy, we're in the process of constructing the other bioreactor as we speak, but a couple commissioners attended the change order committee the other day, and that they're going to be putting in a couple additional gas wells that'll help spike the gas volume a little bit more. It's just tweaking it, but
Try to get back up to 100%.
well, we never ran at 100, but I mean, it was,
Yeah, I noticed when we first fired up, we were running 100, 101% sometimes. Now we're down in the high 80s, but still bringing in over 800,000, so.
yeah. And with the other bioreactor coming online too and all that, we're going to be really back up there, so.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any other environmental or public works matters? Commissioner Rushing.
Just one. I attend the St. Clair County Road Commission meeting, and at that meeting, Kurt Weston, our director for the Road Commission, mentioned that for the townships, this is above and beyond, of course, they do quite a lot of work with, throughout the county, but there will be $230,000 available to be split evenly between the 23 townships, $10,000 to each township. That does not have to be matched, and it has to be used on ditching. So we're going to get a lot of additional ditching for the roads this year within the townships, and get water off the roads, get help the life of the roads.
Do they need to, do the supervisors need to contact?
I have already notified all my townships, so if they haven't heard about it, the meetings will be the end of February. They have the township meetings, and if they don't know by then, Kurt Weston will do it. They have a meeting with all the townships once a year.
Okay.
I'll be at those meetings also.
Okay, excellent. Okay, thank you. We have information only, the Park and Rec financial documents, and the eastbound I-69 improvements.
Make a
And
motion to receive and file information only.
Support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Entertain a motion to receive and file packets regarding environmental public works matters.
So moved.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Riley. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And supported.
All in favor, say aye.
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 We are adjourned.
At this time, I'd like to have the Ways and Means Committee come to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Greatham.
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian.
Yes.
Commissioner Bohm.
Yes.
Commissioner Riley.
Yes.
Commissioner Samasco. Commissioner Heidemann.
Here.
Commissioner Rushing.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 2. You see we do have an ad on there for the District 1 resignation. They get a motion to move that to new business at 7F.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Could I now have a motion to accept the agenda with the,
So moved.
Support.
any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Okay, at this time, moving on to citizens to be heard. Do we have any citizens wishing to be heard? Seeing none, we'll move on to updates. Do we have any updates? Seeing none, we'll move on to conceptual initiatives. We have none. All right, we'll move on to 6, old business. We do not have any old business, so we'll move on to new business, 7A. And we have Mr. Casey here. 7A, the Accelerated Plan for Regional Prosperity Economic Development Strategy, Prosperity Plan for the I-69 Thumb Region.
Thank you, Commissioner Rushing. My name is Dan Casey with the Economic Development Alliance. We're here today to talk about a project that was a partnership with Region 6, which is a 7-county region in Michigan. Also, it was a partnership with Metro Planning and the Economic Development Alliance. So here to kick us off to describe the purpose of the project is Jeff Donaldson.
Thanks, Dan. Well, back in 2012, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation approved an inter-county local agreement for the I-69 International Trade Corridor to become the state's largest next Michigan development corporation. Shortly thereafter, the counties of Genesee, Lapeer, Shiawassee, and St. Clair, as well as 33 other municipalities, came together to discuss shared visions for economic development across this vital transportation corridor and resource that begins right here in Port Huron and crosses throughout our entire county. The following fall, the partners of the I-69 International Trade Corridor were successful in applying for a grant from the U.S. Economic Development Administration to develop a comprehensive economic development strategy, or otherwise referred to as a CEDS. A CEDS is designed to bring together the public and private sectors in the creation of an economic roadmap to diversify and strengthen regional economies. It is important to note that St. Clair County is part of a CEDS that developed for the 7-county SEMCOG region, and we also have a CEDS developed just for St. Clair County as well. Many of the projects you may not see listed in the Accelerate plan that you're going to hear about tonight can be found in these previous 2 plans. Not long after commencing the CEDS planning process, the state of Michigan announced the Regional Prosperity Initiative and provided funding to regions that agreed to come together to develop regional prosperity plans. Bringing Huron, Tuscola, and Sanilac counties to the table, the 7 counties collaborated on a successful application of the MEDC to develop a regional prosperity plan. Tonight, we're here to present the Accelerate Plan, which is a synthesis of these efforts and represents a public and private planning effort that enables our 7-county region to apply for federal economic assistance for regional and local economic development efforts that, as a region, we may not otherwise have been able to seek out. We'll ask you this evening to consider Resolution 1501 and endorse the Accelerate Plan, which you will learn more about in this following presentation from Justin Sprague of the Flint and Genesee Economic Development Regional Chamber. Thank you. Justin.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to start by thanking you for giving us the time to give this presentation tonight, and also for the support that St. Clair County has provided to this planning process. As noted, it is a 7-county process, but there were some guiding principles that we followed, as it was 2 funding sources that brought this opportunity together. I'm the project manager serving as for the 4-county SEDS process that was funded by the Economic Development Administration. Our guiding principles were that we wanted a plan that was going to be informative, that gave us an idea of what was happening with the economy across the 4 counties and across the 7 counties as a whole, and that it was a plan that could be implemented. Many times in planning processes, you end up with a project that goes so heavy into data and is so detailed in data that you get lost in data and that you're not able to find what the source of implementation is and what we're actually trying to do. And in this case, when you have 7 counties involved, you could end up with a 300-400 page report based on data. We didn't want that. We wanted a project that you could pick up as a commissioner, that Dan could pick up as an economic developer, that Jeff could pick up as a planner, and look into it and say, yep, this is what we're going to do. So we have an 80-page document. And it's, as you'll see, as we go through this, it's very graphically oriented to show the data in graphic format, because we didn't want to weigh the plan down with tables and graphs. We really wanted to focus on jobs and investment and prepare an economic development strategy. Again, when you have plans that are loaded in data, you a lot of times get lost in the data itself. This project is a guide. It's not the answer. This project is going to guide us for the next 5 years on how we implement the projects that we want to put before the EDA, the US EDA, and the projects that we want to complete within our region that we know are going to create economic impact. So it's a steering committee driven project, and again, this is the planning process. It sort of started out as our 4-county region and grew. We had 3 steering committees that were ultimately involved in this from the SEDS side. We had our overall steering committee, which was 20 members, consisting of 5 members from each county, and 3 of those being from the private sector, because we wanted a private sector driven process. We had a technical advisory committee that worked with our steering committee, and that technical advisory consisted of myself as the project manager, Jeff, and our local economic developers from the 4-county region. And then we finally had a county level advisory committee, which really focused on detail in the county itself. And again, we wanted private sector input, so that county level committee was mostly private sector individuals. We've already discussed what the region is. So when I mentioned where the plan is graphically oriented, we wanted to make sure that the data was easily accessible, the most pertinent data was available, and that it was shown in a manner that was understandable. So this is just the next few slides really show that presentation of data. The population of our region is 861,000. The 2 largest counties are Genesee and St. Clair County. Our land distribution across that region is 93% rural, and 60% of that, 60% of the region, though, resides in an urban area. By the numbers, we show employment growing across the region, which matches trends with our state and our national economy. Unemployment is also going down as our trends with the state and the national economy. Still, our largest slice of the pie is manufacturing. However, we're seeing a growing and emerging market in healthcare as well as agribusiness. Our education levels are showing right now that 18.2% of our population across the region have a bachelor's degree or better, but we still have a ways to go. And that's one of our targeted measurables, because 24% of the jobs that are reported within our region require a bachelor's degree or better. So that's one of our, as I said, one of our measurables is working with our local education institutions, our community colleges, and our universities to bring that up. One of the things that's interesting is our consumer cost of living. So indexed at 100 at the national level, the cost of living in our region is still relatively affordable and makes our region an excellent place to start and raise a family and to have a job. Further, we've got excellent amenities for families and community members, such as 200 miles of lake shoreline within the region, 10 colleges and universities, as well as 93,000 plus acres of park space within the 7 counties. So as we brought our steering committees together and our stakeholders and discussed where we were going in the future, there were 6 key themes that came forward that we're going to focus on as our goals and as I call action strategies: education, infrastructure, economic development, tourism, regional collaboration, and quality of life. And as we move forward to the implementation phase and with our next steps, each goal or action principle will have a steering committee that will represent that principle. Further, as you'll see in your plan, you'll see each goal or principle has an objective. It has, or a series of objectives. It has performance measures associated with it, and it has what we call vital projects. And those projects are those that will be driven by the steering committees as we implement this plan. Some of our next steps as we work to close out the plan is our grant funding from the EDA is done at the end of March. We're preparing an implementation dashboard. This is going to be a metric-driven dashboard that we're going to use to show our success in implementing this plan in each county. It'll track things like new jobs created, investment in overall dollars from the private sector and the communities, our education and workforce, and new hires that are or hirees that are retrained through our community colleges. It'll also look at things on how our quality of life is improving. It'll look at things such as housing starts and what is happening in the community, showing that the middle class is strengthening and that the economy is getting better. We're already working on a few pilot projects. The Region 6 designee, being the GLS Region 5, has started a pilot fiber project and looking how to maximize fiber deliverance through the 7 counties in the region. And we're also working to implement a agribusiness strategy that was recently completed by our economic development partners across the regions. And we'll be holding an agribusiness summit next month. But we're very engaged with our agribusinesses throughout the region, as well as the state of Michigan's Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, on how we can better deliver our commodities, which our region is one of the highest producing ag commodity regions in the entire state. But we want to better deliver those to market and also ensure that if we are processing those commodities in the state of Michigan, that we're processing them right here within our region. And so those are a few of the next steps that we have at this point that you'll see taking place within the next 2 to 3 months. At this point, I'd be willing to take any questions if you have any.
I have one. You mentioned this, and Dan met with Carl and I and gave us a really good rundown, so I got a pretty good understanding of all this because I had some concerns and answered just about everything I had. But you said you're going to track new jobs. Are you also going to track the jobs that are lost? So you have an equal balance, because the unemployment rate, so let's say we get 100,000 jobs in the region, or I don't know if that's reasonable, make it 10,000 jobs. Do you also track the jobs that potentially will be lost?
The way that we'll work this is typically each county economic development agency has their standardized process of retention. In Genesee County, when we do our retention visits with our local companies, we track their investment, we track their job creation, and in instances, if they tell us that they're downsizing, then we'll also track that. But if it's a situation where we're not notified on the ground when we go out to visit with those companies personally, then we don't track that.
Because it's nice to show we got this many jobs for this, and that's great information.
Right.
But take Flint, Buick City, when it closed down, there was thousands of jobs.
Right.
Yeah, I think the simplest answer to that question is that the Bureau of Labor Statistics already tracks unemployment and workforce availability. And so there's a state website that we can go to on a monthly basis to look at where we are in the county in terms of total employment and total unemployment and the number of people that are currently unemployed.
Because you could do an ABC manufacturing plant someplace. There's 150 jobs, which is great. But CDE just closed and they lost 200 jobs. So it looks good, you got 150 new, but net, but you're saying we can get that information from the state?
Yeah, we get it from the state. You know, it's always problematic to try to track job losses as compared to jobs that are announced, new jobs. And one of the reasons for that is because employment fluctuates so much with companies that it's really at any given time, where are they at? It's tough for us to do that. I just talked to one of our plants, for example, last week, and they said they're going to be laying off 75 people. And I'm thinking, oh no, what are you laying 75 people? Well, it's temporary. And it's because there's going to be a changeover in Windsor at one of the plants to prepare for the Grand Caravan. And so during that changeover, there's no work that can take place locally. So that's one of the challenges we have with trying to track job losses at the local level. It's easier to do it when there's a plant or a facility closing. And so we do keep track of that. We're aware of that. But I would say the best statistic for us is Bureau of Labor.
Do you have any other questions?
Just a comment here. And I'm looking forward to hearing the information on this. And one under tourism goal, to continue to market tourism within and outside the region, including park and rec facilities and programs, improve lodging and convention facilities for the region to support tourism industry. And as we get prepared to open the new convention center, tracking that and the impact, as a commissioner, that's one I'm going to be immensely interested in.
Mr. Bum.
Are you guys doing an in-depth dive into the 80 pages of this thing tonight, or are you looking? I mean, this is a part of a regional plan that you essentially have to put together if you're going to seek additional funding. I'm assuming no different than any other plans that we have. Is that a safe statement?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, this document is a living and breathing document, so it's going to be changed consistently. So it currently consists of what we call vital projects, and virtually any project that was submitted by a community or an organization is in this plan currently. So the next step for us and for the local communities is to begin to implement those projects. Many of the projects in this plan, the ones that were submitted by communities, it's up to them to do the implementation. So in many cases, they're going to be seeking EDA funding for things like, street pavement, reconstruction projects, and so on. And so they will be taking on those initiatives themselves with support from organizations like ours and the county and so forth. In other cases, we have vital projects in the plan that are what I would call more regional in nature, that are economic development driven type projects. There's some examples. There's a pre-seed fund proposal, for example, that would potentially provide funding to startup companies. In our region, we don't currently have funds available to do things like that. So this is a vital project that was identified that would address that issue. There are other regions in Michigan that have similar funds. We just don't happen to have one in our county. So that would be one example of what I'd call an economic development related project. But again, the plan will be adjusted. More projects will be added in the future, and we are going to try to track the results of every project that's in the plan.
Just have one more, if you could explain to commissioners. You did a great job for me yesterday, but this, because one of my concerns with SEMCOG, we have the next Michigan Development Corporation, we have this, and we also have SEMCOG, and the way they're going to work together for potential grants. They might be in partners with the same thing, so it isn't going to limit our partnerships with others. So give a better explanation than I just did.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be a concern, because we're already part of SEMCOG, so what does this mean for our county? So I did talk to the Economic Development Administration about that, and they clarified it for me. And first of all, they're very excited about the fact that we came together to create this plan. Secondly, they said that there's absolutely no reason why we can't be engaged with multiple SEDS plans of either regional or local. And from the EDA's perspective, the way that they're looking at, in particular, St. Clair County and this project is they're suggesting that the SEMCOG plan really cements and identifies the partnership that our county has with the metro region. Whereas the I-69 SEDS plan really identifies partnerships and opportunities to grow the I-69 corridor going westward, so it's outside of the metro region. So that's why they're excited about it, because they see great potential for the I-69 corridor to generate economic benefit to all of our communities in the future. So they're absolutely perfectly fine with the fact that we're going to be engaged with at least 2 SEDS within our county. It wasn't mentioned during the presentation earlier, but I thought I should mention it, that the thumb counties above us are all part of the MCOG region, the Eastern Michigan Council of Governments, and they also are participating in the SEDS there as well. But we had a couple of companies in our region, counties in our region that are not part of a regional SEDS. So this helps to address that particular issue.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
At this time, I'd like to have a motion to forward this to the full board. And if you looked at the end of the 80 pages, there is included in this a resolution 15-01. And I want that also to be moved to the full board.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay, we'll move on to 7B, Health Department Accounts Receivable Write-Offs.
Make a motion, we send this on to the full board.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Moving to 7C, Library Manning Table Revision Request.
I move that we send this request on to the full board.
Support.
Okay, I believe Allison wants to give us a brief rundown, so entertain some questions.
Thanks again. Nice to see you again. Just wanted to mention that as you are able to take some time to peruse the library's strategic plan, you'll notice that every one of the 8 goals that are identified in that plan touches marketing, public service, community service, and so each goal has an aspect where we need to reach out into the community. This position would be an administrative position. They would be responsible for marketing and public relations for the whole library system, publications and design, so they would work with our IT department, with our website, social media, etc. We're also looking for strengthening partnership with our literacy project, the St. Clair County Literacy Project. Volunteer coordination, that's something that we've struggled with, getting folks who want to give back to their community by working in the library as a volunteer, coordinating that effort, as well as outreach and events. And then also something that's fairly new, and it's coordinating a Friends Alliance. Each of our library branches has an organization of folks who love their library, their local community library. We have 11 Friends of the Library groups, and what we would really like to do is create an opportunity for those groups to come together and share ideas and align for the good of the library system as well as for their local communities. And this position would assist us with doing that. It is a position that has been approved by the library board through our 2015 budget process. And if you have any questions.
Do we have any questions? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to 7D, refunding of the community mental health and communication bonds.
Make a motion, we send it on to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. 7E, Board of Commissioners, meeting schedule revision.
We need to adopt a motion tonight, I would think, take final action on this tonight to amend our, so I would move that our next board meeting be moved to February 26th.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay, moving on to 7F, the District 1 resignation.
I've got a letter that I'm going to read here, then I'm going to let Gary Fletcher and Jada Boyer chime in, I guess, a little bit on this. This is regarding Steve Samasco, January 30th, 2015. Before taking office for my 5th term as a St. Clair County Commissioner for District 1, I sent a letter to the Pension Board on December 11th, 2014, requesting that they review the legal opinion of Attorney Edward C. Hammond of Clark Hill, PC, indicating that I could continue to serve as a county commissioner while collecting a county pension. On January 23rd, 2015, I was notified that the Pension Board, acting on the advice and counsel they received from their attorney, had taken the position that they would suspend my retirement benefits effective March 1st, 2015, if I chose to continue in office as county commissioner with less than a 2-year break in service. Because I felt this would be in the best interest of the county and my family to respect their decision in this matter, I submitted a letter of resigned, I think it should be resignation, as county commissioner effective February 28, 2015. This will allow the process of filling the resulting vacancy to begin without delay and ensure that my county pension would continue without interruption. I wish to express my sincere gratitude to the community as a whole, and especially my constituents in District 1 for the opportunity to serve the last 8 years as your county commissioner. I would also like to thank the county employees and elected officials who dedicated and sacrifice allowed the commission to effectively manage the significant budget reductions resulting from the economic downturn experienced by the county after I first took office in 2007. I leave office with the satisfaction of knowing that the county administration is in capable hands and a firm belief that better times lie ahead in our community. Steve Samasco, County Commissioner, District 1. I'm going to, I think, defer to Gary and Jay. We went through, not a resignation, but we went through when Denny Kearns passed 5 or 6 years ago, a vacancy, and I'll talk a little bit more about that process after these two.
What Commissioner Bohm just read from was a press release that Mr. Samasco issued. With that was a letter, same date, to Bill Herpel as chair of the County Retirement Board. And it was styled under the Ray as a letter of resignation, and it says similar things to what was just read. The problem with that is that if there's going to be a resignation, it needs to come to this board and be filed also with the county clerk, not the retirement board. And what I did is I sent Mr. Samasco an email suggesting that what would be best for the board, if he plans on going ahead with this, is on the date of his resignation to submit a letter resigning his position. Because in theory, the issue that caused him the problem with the pension is an IRS rule. And I guess in theory, between now and then, something could happen that it could be overturned by a court, or there could be some change which would then cause him to not actually finalize his resignation. So I doubt very seriously that'll happen, but you never know. So what I suggested is that he submit the letter of resignation on the 28th, which will then create the vacancy. Under the law, it says, this is MCL 46.412, quote, when a vacancy occurs, and the commissioner by resignation is one of the examples, the vacancy will be filled by appointment within 30 days. So this vacancy will not occur till the 28th, and then this board would have 30 days to fill that vacancy. If not, it's filled by special election, which you obviously don't want to do, because number one, it should be done by this board. That's traditionally how it's done, and special elections are expensive. All of that said, there's no reason you can't begin to schedule the process tonight to get notice out to people, to find out who's interested, to have them make written submissions to the board with their letters of interest and maybe a resume or whatever. And then so that when the actual resignation hits on the 28th, you'll have a full month then to interview people and vote and select somebody. That's basically it.
Jay, you got anything you want to add to that?
Just one question for Gary. I don't believe we do, but would we have to have a special meeting on the 28th to accept his resignation as a board?
No, there's no such thing. Once he does it, he does it.
Just an important word in that
Well, that's what he
statute.
said.
Yeah.
Present it to this board, so.
Well, it should be presented, I think, Gary, and you correct me, I think really you should present it probably to the chair and probably submit a CC copy to the clerk's office, just from my standpoint of the management of the elected officials' oaths and the positions that they take. Does that sound?
Yeah, I think the resignation has to come to this board because he serves here. And it should go to copy to the county clerk because Mr. DeBoyer keeps the official records of the county concerning elected officials and their service and election and appointment and all that type of things.
What happened last time when we went through the process, and I think it worked out fairly well, we weren't sure, kind of tossed a few different ideas around, and what we essentially ended up doing is we opened it up for a period of time to accept applications for the appointment for the commissioner. So people essentially submitted their resumes. I think it was maybe a 2-week period. Those resumes then got submitted to all the commissioners, and at that time we said we were going to take our top 5 candidates. And we did it on a scoring system where we allocated your first choice received 5 points, your second 4, 3, 2, 1. So everybody got a chance to submit their people. We scored out those the different individuals. What happened is 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all right there. There wasn't a 5. It was 5, 6, 7, and 8 all were the same score. So then collectively we said, we're going to take the top 4, and we brought them in for interviews. And actually, one of them on the time resigned through the process. So we took the top 3, we brought them in for interviews. We interviewed them publicly, did it in a meeting, and then we scored out whom we thought were the top candidates, and then we chose from there. It worked out. Howard, you're the only one that's sole survivor here from back then.
I think it worked out extremely well, and we got an outstanding board member. I have complete confidence that this process will work again.
Yeah.
I know of many individuals out in District 1, and I'm sure we'll have some outstanding candidates.
So I guess to my point, and this is a Gary question, if we have the ability to, I guess, solicit at this time for applications with the assumption that the resignation is going to go forward, or do we have to wait till February 28th to do that?
What the statute says is that you fill within 30 days. You can start the process now. And if something unexpected happened and the law changes and Mr. Smasko stays, it's just
So if we were to trying to tentatively set a calendar of events, for example, our first meeting is March 5th, our second meeting would be March 19th. If we opened up the application process, hence starting tomorrow, and we said we would like from tomorrow till March 2nd for people to be able to drop off applications to Jay DeBoyer. We could then distribute all the applications to the individuals on the 5th. That would get
to the commissioners.
To the commissioners. We're going to have a special meeting in here. So we could look at scheduling a special meeting maybe on the 12th, somewhere in there to do our scoring process at that particular meeting. Then we would take those top candidates, whether it's 5, 4, 3, we can determine that. Then we could have interviews pre our meeting on the 19th. We could bring them an hour before our meeting, just do and then we could hone it down at that time. We necessarily wouldn't, if we don't want to make the decision at that time, we could schedule another special meeting to do with that. Does that make sense?
I
Howard?
think the last time, I think after the voting, we had a swearing-in ceremony, and he immediately took the position. So,
So you're saying he'd come on April 1st, or you're saying he'd come on at the
no,
last meeting?
the regular meeting in March.
Now, the position, the statute says the position shall be filled within 30 days, so that means they have to be.
We can fill it.
Okay.
We would want to fill it before the 5th.
Would we need a motion tonight from possibly our chair for, at least have our chair and our administrator work together on the schedule and the format with this and give them the authority to do that?
Yeah, really, that's just gonna be an execution thing, like you mentioned. If they're gonna bring them to my office, then, you know, I wouldn't recommend we start tomorrow, because I have to have some time to talk to the personnel, let them know stuff's coming and how that's all gonna work, but
Yeah.
create a window.
Create a window. If you were to say that, you know, we are going to start accepting applications, you have a date that you would be comfortable with, Jay?
How long, I mean, for, the question really is to you guys, how long do you want that window open for?
Probably a 2-week period would be sufficient.
So if you want them for the 5th, we could start on the 16th and carry it through the 2nd of March, and then we can compile them and provide them to you, so you would have them for the 5th?
March 2nd, then 5th, and then we can receive them. And then if we need to make any tweaks in the schedule at that time, we can so do that. But that'll at least start the ball rolling, and then my intent would be to look at something, as like I said, a special meeting perhaps on the 12th, and try to do something on the 19th.
The reason I'm asking that is because Gary's here. If there's a motion that has to be done, maybe we can just do it through normal course of business between the administrator and the chair, but we need a motion to make sure we do this correct.
Yeah, I think you should pass a motion authorizing Mr. Bohm to work with Mr. Kaufman to schedule these meetings, and to work with Mr. DeBoyer to get the process going of the submissions. One other thing I would do is suggest that notice be given to the Yale expositor, right? The Times Herald's here, so, right? Yeah, they'll get it. It should go on the website, you know, just as many ways as we can to let people know that it's out there.
We can do a press release.
Yeah.
You know.
Send it to
for
all
that.
the usual.
Yep, okay.
I have a motion to give the authority for our chair and our county administrator to go through the motions that are necessary to get this
I'd
process.
support that motion.
Well, at first I need a motion. I'm
Oh,
just
you
asking.
need it.
So you made the motion.
Yes.
Riley.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion on that?
I just have one thing I want to say, just to make it clearer. I know we all understand that, but the statute says this person has got to be a resident and a registered voter of that district. So this is not open to residents across the county. It's only open to people that reside and are a registered voter in County Commissioner District Number 1.
Correct.
I know we all understand that, but I think it's really important that everybody else does too, because we don't want a whole bunch of applications from people that when we turn around and say, well, you're not eligible.
Yeah, and that should obviously be in the press release.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay, nothing else. Do we have any other Ways and Means matters at this time? Seeing none, moving on to information only, which we have none. Can I have a motion to receive and file packets?
So moved.
And supported.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned.
We hope you enjoyed this week's St. Clair County Board of Commissioners meeting. Your St. Clair County Commissioners broadcast these meetings on Comcast Local Access Channel 12 every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. If you have any questions on any part of this program, please feel free to contact your St. Clair County Board of Commissioners or staff. You can find their contact information, the meeting agenda, and videos of the meetings at www.stclaircounty.org.